All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Okie Smokin podcast. I'm John, and of course, joining me as always, Dolores.
Hello.
Today, we got a very special guest for episode 45, Ryan from the Flat Top Noob YouTube channel, and he's been firing up some awesome cooks and even bringing beat up flat tops back to life. We're going to be talking some food, YouTube, flat tops, and having some fun. So let's get it rolling and let's cue that intro.
Time to fire up that grill. From smoked pork to smash burgers, outdoor cooking just tastes better. This is the Okie Smokin podcast. And here's your host, John Berry.
All right, we're back. Ryan, welcome to the show, man. Excited to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Before we get too far, heard we're cooking some fajitas today. How'd those turn out, man?
Oh boy, I'll tell you tomorrow after they come out. They were awesome though, man. I ate 6 of them. If I had more, I'd probably eat more, and then I probably wouldn't have made it down here. So it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, you're making me hungry. You getting hungry over there, Dolores?
All right. We haven't ate dinner yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always have to feed the wife before we do this stuff. Make sure she's happy. So I do most of the cooking in the house. So therefore, I was off today. She worked today. So therefore, it was my chore. So I'm good.
All right. Well, to kick things off, so what was do you remember the very first thing you cooked on a flat top?
Yeah, it was the smash burgers. Always. Yeah. So, that was one of the biggest reasons to get one of those flat tops. So we do a lot of cruises. Okay. So we've gone on several Carnival cruises, and the thing about Carnival cruises is they have Guy's burgers. So if you guys don't know Guy Farrar, they do the Guy's burgers, so they're smash burgers. So I wanted to recreate that. So here I am with one of those little electric skillet griddles at home that doesn't work very well. Right. So when I finally got that thing, I was like, all right, finally I get to make smash burgers. So I think I used, the first ones I used the pretzel buns. So, but then lettuce, tomato, onion, whatever, all your fixings. So, but yeah, smash burgers is probably the best thing on.
Yeah, we had some last night, actually, when...
No, I had them. I had the smash burger.
She had some smash burgers.
I did see your coleslaw smash burger. You did that about a year ago. That thing looked pretty awesome. I'm not lying. And I've got one in mind that I'm about to do. So keep an eye out on that one. The Doug and the boys, we were talking about me doing one of those. So I've got an idea for one. So just keep an eye out on that one. It'll be on the Vivor. So that Vivor makes the best smash burger.
For anyone that may not know your channel, how do you describe Flat Top Noob? What's your channel all about?
Well, the premise was when it first started out, the premise was I didn't know nothing about it. And I'm one of those guys, I don't care how I look. I'll fall and then ask somebody if they videoed it or not so I can get it. So I really could care less if I look like a fool. But I wanted, when I first started, I wanted to show that people that, hey, everybody starts somewhere. So don't be embarrassed to ask questions. As it progressed, I was a pretty quick learner on it. So if you've mentioned earlier about basically that series I did last year, the Refurbished Turd, where I restored a lot of those things. So when I did that one, I kind of was showing people, if you don't have a lot of money to go buy one, you can find these used on Marketplace and just restore them yourself and not have to spend a lot of money. I'm not a minimalist, but I'm about finding the cheapest but the good stuff. Try to save money where you can. You don't have to go. The Camp Chef, I have that smoker. I bought that thing. That thing's $800 smoker, but I got $175. Then that was the premise when I first started. It was, you don't have to go spend all this money just to get what you want. You can. But I guess here lately, it's more entertainment purposes. If you've noticed some of it, there's more joking and but showing you I'm cooking food and just make you hungry, right? I'm not the king. I'm not the flat top king. I'm the flat top noob, and we're probably going to stay in that way.
Well, one of the things you always say when you walk right out on your channel or in the beginnings, that welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you hit us with that?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Flat Top Noob.
There it is. I love that.
Yeah, that was so the very first video I made, there was probably 7 or 8 intros, and believe it or not, and I've got a footage of it. I don't know if it'll ever get released or not, but when I was coming down the stairs into that dirty ass garage I got, I fell. And it took me a while, and I was sitting on the couch. I was mad. And I was like, you know what? That all just sounds like garbage. It's like, I'm the Flat Top Noob. It's a new channel. I want people to feel welcome. And like, welcome, welcome. And it just flows right off the top, right? And I did do a video and a poll. I was like, should I keep it or should I not? And people seem to like it. I think it's become a staple of mine. If you've noticed on the live show, it just shows up there, and I'm kind of happy and pleased with the happy accident that the welcome, welcome, welcome comes into play. And to me, I want people to feel inviting into the channel. Well, nothing says invitation than welcome, right? So it's just kind of stuck and it's there. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I say stick with it. As a matter of fact, I got to be honest. I was doing a video. I've done it a couple of times, and I'll be sitting there in the beginning. I'll go, "Welcome, welcome." I said, "No, I can't say that. I'm still in Ryan Noob's sprays. I can't do that."
Yeah. So I mean, it's a good catchphrase, and I think if anybody knows who I am, hopefully it'll be that welcome, welcome, welcome. Because this will be synonymous. Luke Skywalker, Star Wars, welcome, welcome, welcome is me. It's just so that was a happy accident. If I didn't fall in that very first video, it probably would have never come to light. So it's one of those things.
And what's one of the favorite parts, do you think, of running the channel? The cooking or the community?
The editing. I mean, the community is, I'll be honest with you, the community on this side versus the other channel I have is so much better. It's so inviting. It's a breath of fresh air. There's times on the other channel where I get, I call it YouTube fatigue. But it's more, you're just alone, and this community is, I mean, the process of editing, I love editing, but as far as like the community, like you said, this by far probably is a great community. I don't think I could have ever asked for a better one. We got a whole bunch of friends here now. I mean, I don't know if you know how I met Doug. So I've been watching the Flat Top King, and I've been talking to him since he started his channel, and he was actually the Charcoal King and all that stuff. And the Flat Top King has a Facebook page, the Griddle page or whatever. And before he locked it all down, I mentioned something about my channel and all that stuff on there, and then Doug actually responded, "Hey, you got a channel? What's your channel?" And then he saw the St. Louis Blues hat and realized that I was in St. Louis, and he messaged me and we started talking. Hell, man, I think we talked for 2 or 3 hours on the phone one night, and he talked about his computer and wanting to build one, and then he knew Rob, and it just kind of morphed from there, And I mean, a lot of these guys I know, even you, John, was from Rob or Doug. The welcome is almost how I feel with everybody that's brought me into the community. I mean, I'm sitting there at 270 subs, and there's a lot of people that have a lot more than I do, but they're just more welcome. I mean, it's great. Even if nothing transpires through this whole thing, I've gained a whole bunch of good friends. I really have. I'm really upset because we talked. I listened to that live show we did. on the tech side, Vegas has CES, and right after that, they have World of Concrete. And then after that, they have some kind of Comic-Con stuff or what have you. They don't have nothing for us griddles or grills or anything, to get together and in one spot and, just talk and then see what's coming out. Kind of weird, unless there's something I'm missing.
No, I think you're spot on. And dude, that's one of my favorite things about it, like you said, because I have a swimming pool channel. You have a tech channel. And the pool channel has over 3,000 subs, and I don't think I have one pool channel friend.
Yeah. No, you're right. And on the tech channel, I've tried to reach out to small creators, and they don't want nothing. They don't want nothing to do with you. It's like, man, so I'm like, all right. It's like they think that you're trying to take away their subs or something. It's like, I just want to have some kind of, because I do this by myself a lot of times. You see RJ in there, but for the most part, I'm by myself. And it's kind of nice to have somebody, especially when I got an idea, to bounce something off of somebody, or if you just tell me it's a crappy idea, I won't do it then, But the White Castle stuff, you see me and Doug argue about that one?
I did.
So, that makes fun. That makes fun entertainment content too, where but we know each other's joking around. Me, Rob, and Doug, I think are pretty tight and close. I'm not trying to take nothing away from anybody else. It's just the three of us, and I always joke around how they started the live show. It was their idea and everything. It was my idea. I did put it all together, and I've reached out. I'm the one that reaches out to everybody to get on, and like we've got Big Lou coming on this weekend, Sunday night. So that's pretty exciting too. So
yeah, no, I think you'll have a real good chemistry, and I think it's you all do great together with it. And Rob was from Poor Guy Outdoor Cooking I think he was probably one of the first ones that ever reached out to me. And Mile High Guy Barbecue. And that's when I was maybe a couple hundred subscribers or less. And that's when I and to be honest, I think that's why I kept going on, because it's like cool. And then people started to reach out and things like that. And
that helps. That really helps. Like my tech channel is growing slow. I started that in 2020, not because of the pandemic, because of other reasons, but it's like I said before, there's such a thing as YouTube fatigue, and you do it constantly, day in and day out. You just try, you grind. You're like, cool, I got one subscriber. Oh, cool, I've got 3 views. But it's like, after a while, it's like you start to get discouraged, and you're like, well, what am I doing? But then something kicks in, that one comment or that one little spark. It's like, okay, maybe I'm okay. It's, and that's something people don't talk about. It really isn't. If you noticed on this channel, if you go back to my first video, and you go back and you actually watch the first video from Rhino Tech, the tech channel, you'll see night and day. I came into this channel with a lot of knowledge that I didn't have, when I started the other channel. And I think you need to have that when you start the channels to grow. It's just fortunate enough for me, I was able to have a little bit of a step up.
I'm looking at your first one on this one. It's called Should Lowe's Assemble Your New Griddles? That sound like your first video?
That was my first video. Well, so did you guys ever hear the story of how I got that griddle?
I don't believe I did.
So I was looking at him, but me as I am, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go buy one, and then, all right, this is more important. Well, my parents had built 2 houses in the course of about 3.5 years. Well, me being a low voltage guy and a networking guy and all that, I wired up their first house, I refuse to take any money. I refuse, because it's family. I don't do that. That's just not how we were brought up. I'll go wire your house and get everything the way it's supposed to be, and then we move on. Well, then they built their second house, and I did the same thing. Well, my mom's like, I need to give you some money. I was like, I don't want no money. It's just the way it is. So they hoodwinked me. They found a workaround. They show up one day with that Blackstone. I can't tell you to take it back. I can give you your money back. I can't tell you to take back the Blackstone. It's like, well, crap. And my wife's like, just take it. It'll make them feel good. Just take it. So like, all right. So, and that's where they had Lowe's assemble it and all that stuff. I was like, well, I might as well just make a video on should Lowe's assemble it. Now, there was some little flaws here and there with it, but, it made for a good first video, and it just snowballed from there. And I never had gas anything. So I never had a gas grill. I always use charcoal. I don't like gas, as far as what the grill is concerned. So I did a follow-up video on how to hook up your gas and all that stuff. And I'm a noob, and if you're a noob to it, there's people out there that don't know how. So we're learning together, and that's where the premise of the channel started at, and it just progressed from there. So, I don't know. I'm happy with it. It's 270 subs in 2 years. I think it's more. I do it more now because the friendship I have with Doug and Rob, and then the community that I've met through them. It's like you got to have something to keep yourself out of trouble. But I found ways to balance work, life, and this. So
yeah, that's key too.
Right, and RJ's in baseball, so like we've got baseball games, Monday and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and practice, and then I got I work 4/10s or better, and so Friday, Saturday, Sundays when I'm off, so I cram a lot of stuff in 3 days. So that video I did today, I filmed it, edited it, and posted it all today.
Yeah, I've done that a time or two.
But the cooking videos are a lot easier to edit than the text videos are, because sometimes on the text side of things, you got to make sure that you're absolutely correct on what you're saying, because you can't be wrong on it, or else, for one, you're going to get a lot of slack. For two, you're going to get a lot of people pissed at you. And for three, you just don't want to be that guy. So there's a little bit more attention to detail, if you will, on that side of things.
I can relate, just like we're talking about. You say something and some poor guy will come on here. What are you doing? It's not the right way. So it feels more like a grind, and this is just funner.
And the tech stuff I enjoy, and I've got a lot of computers here, and I've got a lot of that and this and the other. But it's something I've always liked. I've always been into it since I was a kid. I was unscrambling cable TV channels when I was a kid. The smut channels that you see a thingy on there. It's like, okay, I want to see that. So I figured out the frequency that they would scramble it on and inject that frequency to make it clear. But I was doing that since I was like 10, 11 years old. It's like, it's just what it is. It's in my blood.
I've got a little bit of that too, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Because creating stuff has always been something I've enjoyed. And this is actually my third YouTube channel. My first one, I pretty much have shut down because of similar to what you're talking about. And it almost hit 10,000 subscribers, one of the most successful channels I ever had. But about 5+ years ago, I don't know if you ever heard of a program called Cody.
Huh?
Well, I created video after video after video with my computer. Oh, how do you get the latest movies? It would sit there and people would watch that. And then I started, how do you get some IPTV, get pay-per-view? So I wasn't really doing anything. Right. I wasn't, in my opinion, I was just showing how to do it.
Huh?
Then I started getting a little bit of warnings and copyrights, and and stuff, and my channel got demonetized and everything, and I said, okay, so that fell apart.
Yeah, and like you got the jailbreak fire sticks, and But the thing, and I'll go on service calls at work over there. I mean, we just had one the other day with that Cody. Okay, so they're complaining because it don't work. But what people don't realize is, so back in the old days, we used to use BearShare, Winamax. Napster was the popular one everybody knew about, right? But you could download movies, music, software, anything on there. So when this Kodi stuff and the streaming came along where you could actually stream videos and stuff, Kodi and some of these other third-party platforms, basically all Kodi is your computer, my computer linked up to some network, and maybe I might be watching, Fast Times at Ridgemont High on my computer, but I'm uploading it from your computer. Right? It's not on somebody's server like Netflix and Hulu and stuff. So it might not be in great condition. If your upload speed sucks at your house, when you're uploading that stuff to my computer, it's not going to play very well. And people say, well, Kodi's not illegal because you're not downloading it. Well,
but you're streaming it.
Somebody's got something somewhere that they're not supposed to have. You know what I mean? So, and we used to argue and fight over, okay, well, what if I go and buy a shirt from Walmart and then Jeff borrows it? Is Walmart going to come and say, hey, you can't do that? So that was our our way of rationalizing what we were doing was wrong. But, Premiere Pro, back then you had to buy the software. It wasn't a subscription based like it is now because the internet wasn't fast enough. But it was also about $4,000 or $5,000. Well, hell, I didn't have that kind of money at 22 years old because I was making short films and stuff, and I needed that software. So guess what I did? Or I didn't do it. I don't want to incriminate myself. Maybe statute of limitations is passed, but download that software, and you get the gen key, the key generator, and
yeah, those key generators were big back then.
Oh, and then my buddy Dave, he got a letter from the FCC because he was, and I told him you're a dummy. He was programming the football cards for DirecTV, and selling for $150 on Craigslist and online and stuff. And the way they caught him was, and I told him you can't do that, but he would run that through his computer onto the box, and then like there was a fight on or something he was wanting to watch, so he ran it live hardwired, and that's how he got caught. Because they found it, they pinpointed where he was, the IP address he was coming from, and he got a nice little letter from the FCC. And I told him, I said, that's why O.J. Simpson didn't go to jail for his ex-wife, but he sure as hell went to jail for freaking football cards. So it's just what it was. I mean, the kids today don't understand what we went through, back whenever this stuff first started coming out. And our generation, we talked about, you're a couple years younger than me, but our generation kind of pretty much, put the forefront of what's going on today. They don't realize it.
You're talking about them scramblers. They used to have specific ads that would list a phone number, but only if you had one would you get that ad. So they always said, don't call any commercial because you would call that. And they would say, he saw the ad. You know what he's using.
Yeah. Yep. There was a lot of ways. There was a lot. And DirecTV used to, once a year, used to send something down to all the receivers and do it's like a piece of software, and would fry those football cards, and you would have to get stuck trying to scramble to find something, another one somewhere. So it's just what it is. I mean, nowadays between YouTube and all this other stuff, I mean, you almost don't really need to do any of that, Yeah. And these kids, like you and me, we couldn't wait to see the next movie or TV show or what. they're on TikTok and YouTube, and they're the stuff that's out now. They don't care less about freaking Andor or freaking Mandalorian or whatever else is coming out.
You're right. It's all YouTube, free TV.
Yeah, that all that stuff is made by our generation, created for our generation, and sold by our generation. When Generation X goes away, the world will never be the same again. So it's what it is. But my kids, I think our oldest is 27 and our youngest is 13. So there's a wide array of what each one of them got to see, and then this one got me as a dad, but this one has the older dad, so it's different. So it's the younger me was busting his hump trying to keep a roof over your head and food in your mouth and all that stuff, and the older me is like, screw you guys, I'm going to go do my kid's game. I miss too much of the other one, so it's what it is.
Yeah, you've gone a long ways in old. When my grandson, who's 10, he saw a big record. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
He's like, wow, that's the biggest game CD or he thought it was a, like, how do you put that in a PlayStation? Because they never seen nothing like that.
Yeah, my daughter was the same way. He's like, "That's a big CD, Dad." Because I got a lot of old LPs, like got old Run DMC, and I got old the first Eat Me Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys album. I call it the Eat Me album because it's got the plane and it's got Eat Me written backwards in the 3 and the A. They never made no money on that album, by the way, if you know that or not. But there's a whole bunch of albums. Like I got Guns N' Roses in there. I got old Michael Jackson Thriller albums. But she just thought it was a big CD. She didn't know. That was my daughter. So our oldest granddaughter is 6, and our grandson's 4. So they're gonna be, they're still little. But that's fine. That's fine. I got siblings that are still making babies. So my sister just had another one. Like, man, I'm having grandbabies, and they're still out there getting trophies. I don't know. I don't want no more trophies. I got enough trophies.
Got enough trophies.
Well, my cousin calls them another word before that, but I'll be nice. It starts with an F, and then trophies. So I'm sure your listeners can decipher that one. So,
well, Ryan, before we switch gears, I've started doing some live cooks, and I remember on your live show you said recently that live cooks is something you would like to do. Is that something you thinking about doing or setting up? Maybe doing the cook live. If you burn it, it's live.
I have. I'm looking at putting together a small PC that I can just carry. Because, so if you guys don't know, if you're not monetized or if you don't have the 1,000 subscribers and what have you, they won't let you go live on your phone. You have to go live through a PC. So with that being said, anything I do live has to go through a computer. I don't have a laptop. So what I've done was, you saw the big camera I have, the one I use for everything. It looks like a big cinematic camera. So I bought the wireless HDMI thing. So you got a receiver and a transmitter, and it can go to the computer through the capture card, and I can do it that way. So I just need to build me a small computer to just bring upstairs with me with a small monitor, and then that wireless on that camera, I can, I can get my son to just do the camera work while I do that, and then hopefully I can get that worked out. I would like to do a live cook. I just don't want to do it downstairs in the basement with all this technology, all this computer stuff. I don't want grease everywhere. So, and I wouldn't mind just doing it outside. Just go outside and do it.
Yeah, that's how I like it. I
You
like
know,
to go outside.
just go outside.
Well, we're on a laptop that's plugged to power right now, but I'll take it out there and plug it up to the extension cord and have a couple of cameras. And I just think it's pretty cool. And if you go live and ever want to jump on, I'd go live with you. We'd cook one.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'd get Marcus to do the camera work. And then if I could figure out a way to set up like another camera, just like a stationary one that you could go back and forth to, or just small on the screen, that would probably work too. Like you were saying, you thought you were the big screen and it wasn't the big screen.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
I'm using Riverside, which is not, and I thought about maybe I'll use Restream because they got a free version anyway. And so I think what it's doing is what I'm looking at was it thinks I'm looking like I'm looking at them to be watched at me, not me looking, it's so what I got to do is I've got a second little computer I got to set up beside me, I guess, from now on and actually have it going so I can see what the heck other people are seeing.
Right.
Yeah, because I didn't have that.
Yeah, well, and I remember your trial run. Your trial run looked pretty good, though. That was pretty snazzy. You said you drove away. You could still see the cook when you went to Walmart or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Which is an option with what I'm using is, you like the link that you came in here with.
Yep.
If you just had it on a phone and click the link, you could just go driving right now. We'll just watch you on a road trip or something. I could send you to the store.
And you just turn off the mic on that particular device, then, so it doesn't do an echo.
Yeah, right now Dolores is using an iPhone, and I just click the link, and she has it. It's not plugged up to a computer or anything, so she could go walking with it.
Okay.
As long as you can keep some kind of cellular coverage,
right.
She would stay connected, and her stream would continue.
Well, I will tell you, like I'm looking right now on this format here, you're at 1080p, and that Restream, even when I pay for the version I pay for, it's only 720, which I didn't think was that big of a deal for us just doing our little show and everything like that. Like I do everything 4K whenever I do my videos, but like the stream stuff, I wouldn't mind doing 1080. But just keep in mind it'll be 720 instead of 1080 whenever if you go over to there. I don't know why they want it. I mean, I guess it's an upcharge, but the difference is price between what I pay for and the other one is so freaking high. It's like, forget that. And then there's a feature on there too where they would make shorts out of our live show, but that's $20 a month. It's like, well, I can just take the live show, throw it on Premiere Pro, and create those shorts. Why do I need to do that? So
yeah, you're seeing that as 1080, and that is correct. However, the live is only 720.
No, the live is okay.
Unless you pay an extra $15 a month.
Yeah.
So they always get you by the balls one way or the other.
Are you limited on how long you can be on this?
Yeah. So this plan that I'm on right now is $29 a month. I think it's for 24 yearly, something like that. I don't remember. And you're allowed 15 hours of recording a month.
Recording. But what about live?
Live stream, I believe, counts as that.
Okay. Because I don't think there's a limitation on that. 'Cause, I mean, you've seen our show. Some of them go 2 hours. Some of them go 3 hours. I think the longest.
Yeah, you don't want to go to this. Trust me.
Right. I think the longest one was 3 hours and 20 minutes. I think was the longest one.
You might have to go to the enterprise plan where they say contact us.
Well, I think because we went over to Sunday nights, I think you're seeing, like, ours was like 2 hours and 30 minutes. But I think you're going to start seeing shorter ones because Rob wants to go to bed. So it's like, you're retired, you're going to bed, dude. Get out of here. But we went to the Sunday nights because Doug does a lot of camping in the summertime. For him to be here on Saturday, it'll be difficult or whatnot. I think possibly in the wintertime we'll be talking to them. Maybe go back to Saturday nights. I like the Saturday night because we can talk all night, and I don't mind being up all night because the next day I'm not doing anything. I just don't want to. I won't be up till midnight on live stream and have to go to work. You know. But I don't mind the long ones. I mean, it's fun. Everybody has fun. I've listened to them. I was like, man, there's some dead air here and there, but for the most part, man, it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, and you're not going to expect anybody to come in for 5 hours and just glue their, they come and go, come back a couple. Y'all still here? You know?
Yeah. Well, and a lot. So like during the live, I'll get 2 or 3 views, but like, I can look at it real quick. So last week I only had like 2 or 3 people watch live. Okay. But now I've had 36 views on it. So people come back and watch it later,
Right.
So, there's only 10 on Andy's, and then there's like the Ranchers. That was, there's 21 on there. I'm looking for yours. Okie Smokin, 36 views. Yeah, 36 views on yours, and I only had 2 people watch the whole night. We were live, but there's 36 people came back and watched it later. So, and then I'm looking at the podcast, making a podcast. There's like 60 or 60 downloads or 60 watches throughout the whole. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but India, there are people listening in India. It's like, okay. It's weird.
Funny you mentioned that because right when you're talking about that, I was going to say what's so cool. I'd have to look it up, but I've got people, like you said, India. What countries? Finland, just crazy.
UK.
Yeah,
I got somebody down in Brazil. Like what? How did we get down to Brazil? It's like, I'm just. And I'm sort of thinking, like the India one, I'm like, none of us cook with curry. I can't stand the smell of curry, but I guess they're trying to figure out Western food. I don't know. For first world problems, our smoker don't work. We gotta use charcoal.
yeah. I'm going to look at my stats right now, see if I can pull that up because I get fascinated. Here we go. Locations. So, countries got United States, Finland, hit all countries here, Israel, Germany, United Kingdom, and Australia. So that's got 6 different ones. And then when you look at the places that listen to this podcast, I've got California, New Jersey, Ohio, Missouri, Virginia, Wisconsin, Florida, several, some. That must be some other country. Uziami, there's Tuttle, Oklahoma, home base right there. But I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, so the internet has definitely made the world smaller. It definitely has made the world smaller. But it's actually fascinating that people are interested in watching something from over there. It really is, and there's a lot of UK people I watch. There's some guy on YouTube. He's got tons of subscribers. He was building a bomb shelter, a room in his backyard, and then he covered it up, and he's got grass. So you go through his shed, and there's a stairwell going down to it. It's
Right.
weird. Hey, the world is definitely. It's becoming easier and easier to succeed if you do something right.
Consistency, I think, is one of the biggest things.
Well, you know what? I would agree with you on that, but I'll be honest. There was like 3 months there where I didn't do nothing on my tech channel, but I didn't do nothing on this channel either because some things had happened. Rob knows about all that stuff, but things had happened that pulled me away from it for a while, and that tech channel, I think in 3 months, I gained like 40 subscribers and didn't freaking put one video up. So it's like, we talk about that, but it's like, it still grows. You know, it's like, does it really matter? I mean, I do know I do know that I would like to. I'm trying to focus more on quality than quantity. If that makes sense,
Yes, I would think that.
because you can put out 10 videos that are garbage, nobody's going to watch. But you put out one video that's decent, and you're going to get a lot of views. You know,
Yeah, you don't want to put a video out just to get a video out.
right? No,
You know, if you're producing videos just to produce a video, you know.
yeah. Yeah, and I've done fairly well on this channel with that. The other channel, it goes back to the YouTube fatigue. Is like just get it out, and you're like, fuck, I ain't gonna put that out there, and then it sits there and it doesn't do nothing because I don't put it out, and I gotta think of something else. But I'm looking at like this channel here, the noob channel. Guys, the potato sausage one I just threw out there just as a little.
Yeah, I saw that.
It wasn't a welcome. It wasn't a how-to. It was just I was cooking them. I was like, hey, this would be cool just to film real quick, do something real quick, and put a music to, straight and to the point, you know. And I mean, that's 131 views, but I mean, for the most part, I'm getting 300 to 400 views, 500 views on almost every video now, and it's just weird to me that I'm getting that many views on it. So that country cutter, did you see that one yet? That was today.
I haven't got to that one yet.
No, so that country cutter just started, so it's only 6 views, but that's actually a Big Lou thing. So, but
Yeah, and I've found that it's kind of, it starts out slow, and then day 2 and 3 it seems to pick up. At least on mine, kind of strange.
well, and Doug says the same thing, but it's like 13 days, 555 views. So I did the grilled cheese, and Doug said, well, that's because you called it jelly roll and people were thinking that it was jelly roll. I was like, all right, well, if that's the case, I'll start naming stuff M&M and Dante's Inferno. I mean, if it works, then fine. You know, the White Castle video is 453. So that one there kind of died, but I didn't expect it to even do 453. So that was one of those things where leading up to it, we were fighting and arguing about, because if you notice me, I'll call people out.
Yes.
I'm not scared. And I told everybody on that live show, there ain't nobody doing White Castle burgers right. Nobody. And then Rich, just cooked that damn food or whatever, this damn food. So I did it right. I was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. What kind of onions you use? Real onions? So yeah, you didn't do it right. Because the onions that they use is dehydrated onions. So you didn't do it right. So, and then my little Z Grills fiasco. Everybody likes to talk about the Z Grills. Hey, I was right.
Spot on, I mean.
I was right. I'm sorry. And I had everything backed up. And them videos took a while to put together, but I want to make sure that the T's were, oh crap.
You put your hands up.
The T's were crossed, the I's were dotted, everything else with that garbage. Doug gets a kick out of the Z Grills freaking thing. I don't know why, but he gets a kick out of that Z Grills. But I'm not scared. I come from a world on the tech side. We call out companies that do bad. We don't just sit back and let them.
Yeah, don't let them just do what
push
they're
the
doing,
consumer around. We don't do it. Now, I haven't seen that too much on this side. I get, we're all from the Midwest. I'm sure Oklahoma is still considered the Midwest. I'm in the Midwest, so we got that Midwest mentality. But at the same time, I've got the mentality of don't screw people over. People work hard for their money, so don't sit here and tell me that this smoker here is part of your thing, and then when we're asking about it, you say, well, no, that's not part of it. Well, then don't put it in your ads. Don't have your influencers freaking be in front of it saying, you get to have 5 new grills and, or spin this and you get 5 grills for this, whatever, whatever the promotion crap is. Okay, don't if it's not part of it, don't put it in there. Plain and simple.
Yeah, don't misrepresent or switch bait or clickbait. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of making you think a little.
Well, it was one of those small Facebook ads, that was an influencer. I don't know who it was. I don't know who that guy is. I'm surprised that guy hasn't even seen all that stuff. But and I don't know who it is. Nobody's even could tell me who that guy is. But you got an influencer there that's got a Z Grills that's toting your stuff, their promotion in front of a grill that's not part of your promotion. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like I'm going to a Mercedes dealership and you got a freaking Volkswagen there. It just don't work. Come buy a Mercedes and you show me a freaking Volkswagen Rabbit. Okay. Yeah. It's like, no.
Them car dealers do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, I know they do.
They'll add something, or maybe you get a brand new TV. You go, oh, we just sold that, but we got this.
They don't like me when I go in there because I flat out tell them this is what I'm paying. And if that's not what you want to give it to me, fine, I'll go somewhere else. And I do. It's like that truck out there, they call me. Well, we'll give it to you for that price. I said, no, I'm not interested no more. I don't want to deal with you people. Oh, well, what could we do? What could we do? I was like, well, you can give me free oil changes for 2 years. That's what you can do. So they gave it to me. Like, all right, oil changes are $100, So you just got to finagle. But I'm too old to heckle and haggle and.
You just want to walk in and say, this is a good enough deal, give it to me.
Yep.
And
I'm not trying to screw you over. I know and I really like that was a Suburban and it was sitting on an Audi in an Audi dealership, okay? So you got all these Audis in there and you got a Suburban on your parking lot. I'm like, dude, you don't want a Suburban on your parking lot. It's bad for business. You got a Chevy in your parking lot, you sell Audis. I mean, come on. So they saw the light, but I was like, screw it. I'm not buying from you unless you give me this. Whatever.
Stick to your guns.
Right. Because I don't need it. I can go find somewhere else. I've gone this long without it. I don't need it right this minute. It's not like I got a company vehicle, so it wasn't like I needed a car. So we already had hers. It was just time for me to get another one. That Blazer I had went kapooey. It's like, man, I need something.
Well, I think we already talked about this, but I really enjoy the way you refurbished the turd episodes.
The Refurbished Turd?
Yeah, because I kind of had some notes here when I was going through there, and I says, I think you touched on this when we started, didn't you? How you don't want to pay full price for anything, and you just kind of find something low price. And because I remember there's a video you took and you restored a complete turd, right?
Oh, well, so my sisters. Well, so that one was I think that was an old. No, that wasn't a Members Mark. It was a Charbroil. It was still a Walmart brand. It was like a Charbroil. It was but I gave it to my sister. That was the worst griddle I found. The absolute worst. Okay, you didn't see a lot of that in the video, but there was a lot of elbow scrubbing in that one. There was grease coming out of the frame of the leg of the of the griddle. I mean, I know that I cleaned that stupid. I ended up taking that whole thing completely apart, nuts and bolts and everything, to clean it.
You did
I
a video
remember
on
watching that
yes,
video.
we watched that. Yeah,
And then I gave it to my sister, but I seasoned it all up, and then I took it to my sister's house, and she come out, and she was all excited, and it was perfect for her and her place, But that one probably was by far the worst one. I still got one in the garage. I paid $25 for it. It was a 28-inch Blackstone, and my wife claimed it. So, if you guys saw the episode where I took the 36-inch and had it sandblasted, Well, I had hers sandblasted too at the same time. We went on that cruise. I dropped it off. So they sandblasted both of those tops for $100. So I still got to do hers. So I still got to do a video. I've got a hood for hers. I've got to do back drain for hers. I can't remember because it was last year when I bought this stuff. I don't remember if I bought wheels for it, like caster wheels for it. I can't remember that far. But I still have to get hers together. But when I got it, it was November. And so like that cruise, we went on a Halloween cruise and we got back in early November and it started getting frigid cold. And I was like, I'm not getting the power spray out. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'll just wait till spring next year. So I still got to do that video, but I don't think I'm going to do a Refurbished Turd on that one for the simple fact that I've already got the top sandblasted and all that. But the Refurbished Turd was pretty good, but I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of work, and I don't know if it's going to be reprised or not, just because of the time that it takes to do it. People seem to like it, but I don't think they realize the consumption of time that it takes to clean them up is one thing, but you know as well as I do, John, that anytime you add making a video, it makes it 3 times longer.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Okay, so it's like I gotta focus my time on what's important, and I don't think the Refurbished Turd editions are
A lot of work.
are completely worth it. If I mean, they're enjoyable. And it's cool to see, but it's like, man, it's just a lot of work, a lot. But there's enough there to show people, hey, you can go buy these things cheap on buy, sell, trade, and fix them up, and and do what you need to do with them. If you've got the problem is people don't want to do it. There's a lot of people that don't want to do that, but there are people that do. So it's a matter of how much you want to work for it, right? Because Blackstones, I think the crappy ones at Walmart are like $298, and then they go up from there. And then if you can buy a Halo, you're not doing the refurb stuff. If you're buying the $300 one from Walmart, you're doing the refurb stuff. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Because why would you refurb something if you can go buy a Halo or the 500 griddle, $500 griddle? It's just,
and you're refurbing something that's
yeah,
higher end, yeah,
right. So it's what it is. But and I know I'm the Flat Top Noob, but I've incorporated, and I went back and forth on this too, because if you notice, I started using the cast irons and the smoker. And then I've been trying to incorporate the smoker into the flat top and all that stuff. So I think I probably hit it in the beginning. I've become trying to be more entertaining. If you notice, a lot of my videos are fun, lighthearted, joking, and
yes,
because if I can't get you from me cooking, I'm going to try to get you from comedy, something funny,
And I think that's what people like about your channel. I've tried, but I just think you've got the perfect personality, the charm. I mean, where you kind of get that glow and that funniness out of you, quirkiness. Yeah. Right.
Well, that's just the way. I always wanted to be a stand-up comedy, but I never had the kahunas to do it until now. I just, I was always scared. Like, I don't know why I'm scared, but I always find laughter to be one of those things that everybody can relate to, but there are people that aren't funny and they try to be,
Yeah. So, I just know I'm not, so I don't try.
Right. So, and there's sometimes there's subtleties where you got to take a double check. Did he really say that? Did he say, go back to, well, did he say that? He said that. So, what was that video? Was it the White Castle one? I said something, my wife watched it. Oh, it was, I said something about the Griddle being my mistress or what have you, but it just kind of coasted underneath the radar stuff. And then I said something about, but I love my wife and I got my wife, whatever, something. And my wife's just like, what the hell is that? You got to go back and watch it. You'll see it. You'll miss it sometimes if you don't. But I don't know. I try to be entertaining. Sometimes I'm not. But that's where the editing comes into play too, you know. So editing was always so. I don't know if you want me to get into this or not, but when I first started YouTube, it wasn't to actually be on YouTube. When we talked about pirating back in my early 20s, right. The Premiere Pro. So I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, but you know, I've lived in a world of parents that says you can't my whole life. So you always believed them because you said it so many times. But when I was younger, I did short films, and we did put them in still small film festivals here and there in the local area. And when I got older, I was wanting to, I think it was 2018, I've written like 3 or 4 scripts, and I was wanting to film and make one of them, and I didn't have the hardware or nothing to edit with. So I started filming, and it was like just wasn't working, so I waited until I got that one over there built. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start YouTube to relearn Premiere Pro, because Premiere Pro today is completely different than Premiere Pro yesterday, right? So the whole premise behind actually starting YouTube was to make videos brushing up on my editing skills. And it just snowballed from there. And I still haven't made my short film. There's a video on the tech channel that I kind of did a spoof, not a spoof, but like more of a cinema type of a video, but it still had tech tied into it. It didn't do very well, but it was just me getting stuff out, you know, just my creativeness out. You know, if you actually look at because I can't do it on this channel yet, but if you look at the trailer on the other channel, you can see like me putting the trailer together in a cinematic type of thing. This stupid God blessed thing. I gotta get rid of this stupid camera, or find a way to turn that stupid thing off. You saw the live show, and then Doug's got the same camera now. But I know I'm rambling about stuff. But
is there any short film or anything you made that you just never have shown? You know, maybe have a bunch of stuff out there.
I don't have it. I lost it all. So, when I was younger, I moved a lot, and in my adult years, I moved a lot, and I lost a lot of that stuff. And then, like, the hard drives that I had got destroyed. There was some things that happened in the past where people were very malicious. And you know what happens when you put a magnet to a hard drive, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, so I lost a lot of that stuff. I can't get back. It hurts, but I can either have one or two options. I can sit here and be angry the rest of my life about it, or say, well, it's what it is, you know. You put a lot of work into it. It's difficult. And then there was one that I had on VHS, but it got so degraded you can't see, you know, you can't make it out, you know. So it's what it is. You know, all the videos I've done, I've toyed with the thought of doing a documentary on the life of a YouTuber. I just got to figure out how to actually approach it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But I have every single piece of footage from Rhinotech to the Flat Top Noob. It's all stored. I got all of it.
You could do a big compilation.
I've got 5 years worth of video, all the mess ups, me calling myself a fucking idiot, me calling me a stupid ass, me going, you know, it's just, you know, and then I got I got kids in the back laughing their ass off because I screw up. I'm fumbling over words, and it's like, well, I've got all that footage. A lot of people don't keep it.
Yeah, I have some, but I don't think I can. I don't have all that.
I've got all of it.
I don't. I get a hard drive full and then it runs out of space, and then you're like, okay, I don't need this no more. Start over.
I kept it all.
You got it all.
I've got it all. And you know, if anything, when I die, my kids can go back and watch all of it. You know, they'll get a laugh. You know, even with the channels, even if they don't get the raw stuff, that's what's cool about this too, is your kids can go back and watch this even when you're gone. You know, I think some of this stuff is like just a memoir. You know.
Yeah, and that raw stuff is that's pretty cool. And when I first started doing this, I was try to be too perfect, or you editing this, and I've got more and more like live videos, for example. That was something that I've always kind of been scared of, because it is what it is. So.
Well, and I told you in the beginning, it's like I'm the guy that falls and asks if I got recorded. Who cares?
Yeah, so I've let loose and enjoyed doing that, to where I don't care as much anymore.
So who does the editing, you or Dolores?
So I do the editing. I've got a few different editing softwares. I've got a Mac and Final Cut Pro, and I've got CapCut I use occasionally, and I've got different ones. And if you look back at some of my earlier videos, I used to have a 2-camera setup. I'd have one camera pointing at the food, one camera pointing at me, and then I would go in there and I'd upload both files, and you'd try to sync them. And then I'd have a different audio device, and then you'd sync it, and then you had to sit there and you'd press 1, 2, 1, 2 to get it just right. I still do that. Yeah. You do the little clap and then line it up.
Yeah, like Premiere, it does it automatically. You just highlight both of them, click it, and sync it, and it goes. The reason I was asking, so the question I was going to have for you, because this was very hard for me in the very beginning, editing myself. Did you find it difficult to edit yourself in the beginning? Because I had a tremendous hard time editing myself, because a lot of those short films I didn't star in them, and the ones I did, the ones I did star in, I didn't have speaking lines or nothing. So editing yourself, I found, was the most difficult thing for me. Whenever I did I do that again?
No, I don't think so.
But editing was the hardest thing I ever found myself to do in the very beginning. It was weird. Did you find that?
I really don't think so.
Well, once he edits it, he makes us watch it over and maybe over. So. Like all the kids, plus me.
I do that. I say, hey, come see what you think. Do I need to just delete the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't traumatize them with that. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna... So I found in the beginning that if you spend all your time trying to perfect it, it'll never get published. There's just going to be flaws in it. It's going to be what it is. You just got to, otherwise I'd still be over there editing my first video from Lowe's, or the first video I did with my graphics card that I did on my other channel, Did you happen, you guys never really saw the other channel, did you?
The Rhino?
Yeah.
I have subscribed to it and watched some of it.
Did you watch any of the shorts that were so there's a segment on there I do with my boys called 80s Gamer.
No, I haven't seen that.
Go watch those and then come back, not now, but didn't just come back to me after you've watched the 80s Gamers. They're so funny. It's just for like the very first one I ever did, and there's this little premise here. I'm in the hallway, in the hallway closet, acting like I'm reaching for something. And RJ, he comes and video bombs us every week, and he's in a few of those videos. He comes out of his room. He goes, "Hey, Dad, you want to play Fortnite?" Sure, why not? So the next scene you see me, we're downstairs, and I have a joystick. Where's it at? Come here. I got a joystick in my hand. He's like, "All right, I'm ready to play Fortnite." And he goes, "No, Dad, you got to use this." And he hands me a Xbox controller, and I pick it up, and I'm looking at it, and I go, "That's too many buttons." And there's a lot of other, and I make myself look so stupid.
You do this in your shorts.
On the shorts, on the Rhinotech one, and he gets real involved in it. And there's a whole mess of them, and they're just hilarious. But it's called 80s Gamer, because the tech channel has got a lot of gaming PCs, a lot of gaming stuff, and other tech stuff as well. But 80s Gamer, because I'm Gen X, and when video games came out, we had Pong in the 70s, and then Atari came out in the late 70s, early 80s, ColecoVision, and then into Nintendo, and then Sega and Dreamcast. And
you ever have the Intellivision?
Intellivision too, and Donkey Kong was on that one as well. It was on ColecoVision, because ColecoVision actually put out Donkey Kong, but Intellivision, I think, was a sister company of ColecoVision. So
that sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna do some binge watching on that.
Yeah, you got to at least watch some of the. Now there's one on there. I was like, I left it on there. It's kind of embarrassing, but it was. So when I'm singing the 80s Gamer song, just keep in mind it was an inside joke from a friend of mine that whenever I did it. So not a lot of people know it. Only he understands it. So, but I just kept it up there just because it's like, okay, well, there was one on there. I flushed an air tag, or I tried to flush an air tag down a toilet at Walmart. So, stupid crap like that. My comedy comes out in some of those shorts, So, but I've never been like. We've talked about making shorts to grow your channel. I think that's a bad idea. I think
teeter-tottered on that one.
I think shorts are fine to make, but I don't think they're fine to grow, because people aren't going there to watch your long form. They're only going to be there to watch your short. They're subscribing to your short, so therefore they're there for your short.
Right? They're to see a silly video too. I don't know that what I make is for short. It's not dancing. It's not,
Well, so in the very beginning, if you actually go and look at, because I stopped making a lot of shorts. I'll make some shorts for for the Flat Top Noob, but if you look at some of the earlier videos, I turned a lot of early videos into shorts. And yes, they're a great way to grow your channel, to get, subscribers, right? But at the same token, the way that I look at, now you've been on YouTube just as long, if not longer, than I have, okay? So you understand part of this. If you're subscribing when you're watching a short, you're not there for long form. You're just not. Yeah. And if you're not a channel that does a lot of shorts with your long form, there's no point, because you've almost got to keep up with that audience along with your long form audience, because now you've got two separate audiences on your one channel.
And even if you do like a what do they call it? A refurbish it, or, where you could put it in something, have it pick out 30 seconds of your video. Those people most likely only going to watch that.
Right. They're not going to watch. They're not going to watch.
And they have a related video. No one clicks it.
No, nobody does. Nobody. That's why I said, if I'm making it short, I'm not making it to gain something. I'm making it just because it's either funny, goofy, or, something I just got a wild hair up my ass to do, because I want to. It's
just not, do it.
It's just to do it. Right. It's not grow. And I hear everybody's, I need to start making shorts so I can grow my channel and stuff. Well, it doesn't work that way, buddy. It really doesn't. I'm sorry I sound like Richard Nixon right now, but I'm not a crook. You're going to edit that part out. It's just not. I mean, I don't know a lot about YouTube, but I've been on long enough I've learned a few things here and there, you know.
You want to make short form content, go make a TikTok or something.
Well, you know what? And I don't even mind you making short form. TikTok's not it. If you're going to do shorts on YouTube, just do shorts. Don't do long. Okay? You can stay on, because I don't think TikTok's not going to be here that long. YouTube's going to be here till after we're dead. YouTube is not going anywhere. I keep trying to tell people that look at what happened. Look at what happened with TikTok, where they shut it down for a little bit. Unless they find an American buyer, it's going to go bye-bye. TikTok is. Gone, yeah. It's going to go bye-bye. And YouTube's still going to be here. YouTube has been here so long. It's been here long enough. They have everything set up they're the most generous of the creators. They really are. Twitch screws you. You know, that's all Amazon, Jeff Bezos. They are not very good for their creators, you know. I think YouTube, as far as the platform's concerned, I think they're here to stay. They're always making things better for you and I, the creator. I don't think they're going anywhere. And if you want to make shorts, just make shorts on YouTube and just all shorts.
Have you thought about creating your own little just shorts channel?
I toyed with it, but I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, it doesn't seem like it takes that much time, but it takes some time.
Yeah, and I think it's better to really concentrate on one or something.
And I'll be honest, 2 is hard. Two is difficult, you know. Shorts aren't hard to edit and make. A lot of those 80s gamer shorts, I actually wrote the scripts for, and we followed the scripts for them. And I did the words, I wrote down what we were going to do and all that stuff. A lot of those 80s gamers were, the whole script was written. Not all of them, but a lot of them were written, especially the ones with me and RJ. They were written.
You predetermined what you were going to do.
And I had it all set up, and I did all that stuff. There's one that was 80s gamers worst trade ever. And I was all I wanted was my Atari back. RJ had my Atari, and all I wanted was my Atari back. So I was trying to give him everything I had, from all my gaming PCs to PlayStations to Xboxes to I just wanted my Atari back. That's all I wanted. But he wouldn't give it to me. But it was like 80s gamers worst trade. So I had all this stuff stacked up on the table. And like, all right, geez. I always make me look stupid in the whole videos. Every video we make of the 80s gamer, I'm the stupid one. I always make him look like the genius. So, and when you watch, you know better. At least I hope you know better. But I always try to make myself look stupid. That's the comedy of it. That's what makes it so fun.
No, you're right. Yeah.
You know, because we were making those. He's 13 now. We started making those when he was like 8 or 9 years old. You know, so there was one with the Game Pass. Okay, so I got the Game Pass, right? So I'm trying to stick it inside the Xbox where the CD goes. It's like, I got the Game Pass, but it won't work. So you just gotta go watch them. They're actually really, really funny. But I don't know. I could talk and talk and talk.
No, it's great, man. I mean, Been awesome, really. Yeah, love it.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go, man. I was really worried you're going to ask me about RecTech and Pit Boss. It's like, yeah, I don't know nothing about I'm sure it's more of a format just to get to know who I am. And that's great because honestly, man, there's a lot of jack-offs out there, and they come out looking fake on some of these little interviews and shows and stuff. With me, is what you get. I mean, you get the same guy here as you saw on the live show. It's just it's just what it is. I like to have fun. I like to joke around, and I like to make people laugh and happy. If you don't like it, well, there's a garbage truck over there. You can go hop in it, and they'll take you down to the dump. The one in St. Louis is on fire. Hopefully, some of these days you'll sink down into the flames and burn your ass. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I drive a garbage truck.
I know. That's why I referenced
and I've caught a couple on fire.
That's why I referenced it. It wasn't a knock on you. It was just a reference because I kind of knew that. I segued that one in there. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty good time here, and so what do you think about the Pit Boss?
Well, you know what? It's a boss and it's a pit. Honestly, I don't like them. It does. I don't like. I like the grease tray. I like it to flow like I got on my camp chef. It flows down. On that Pit Boss, it's rounded and it flows down to the bottom and then goes down from the back and the front to the side. You know what I'm talking about? How it's concaved,
grease all everywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a Z grill. That would be so funny, wouldn't it?
Hey, you get a C grill. The C grill.
Wouldn't that be so funny?
That
would be the ultimate. That would be the ultimate.
It's going to be a 180. You're going to be their spokesperson. You're going to be standing in front of it.
And it won't even be the one that they're offering for the special projects or whatever the hell it is. No, you know what? I've gone back and forth. I've been looking and it's like, man, do I keep the Camp Chef for another season or do I sell it and buy another one? What company was that? And they haven't responded to me. So there's a company, I'm going to try to find it real quick. I messaged and it was kind of the brisket grills. It was kind of a genius idea on my part if it would have worked, but it didn't work. So it kind of fizzled out and I'm not such a genius anymore. But that particular company gloats on how much tech is in their grills and they use AI technology and all that stuff. So I asked them to send me a grill, but for my other channel, my tech channel. And I told them I want to go over all the tech stuff for it. So I'll make a video on all the tech stuff on the grill, on the tech channel, and then use it and come over here to the Flat Top Noob and use it. I get one product for two channels. It'd be great if they would send it to me, but I can't even get them to respond.
Yeah, they would get two reviews in one.
Yeah, and honestly, I all joking aside, that would be awesome if I could find at least one of these companies to send me their grill for the tech channel and go over all the technical stuff. Because let's be honest with you, John. I know you know a lot about tech and stuff. You're pretty handsome with it. But there's a lot of people that aren't. And if I could do a video on the tech side of the stuff on the smokers, because they're getting more and more sophisticated, it's not like that Camp Chef where you just turn the button, the pellets drop and you're smoking away and you go buy yourself because I got a couple of them upstairs with the Bluetooth thermometers I stick in my meat. But a lot of these have that now where it's all on your iPhone or your Android. They got an app and you're at Lowe's. You're like, oh man, it's too high on that brisket. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. I can't do that with that one up there. But there's a lot of people that don't know. So I thought maybe the tech channel would be an awesome format for that, and just go do a deep dive on that, just on that alone.
Yeah, because I don't know any tech channel that's reviewing grills.
No, but I want to do for the tech stuff. On the tech stuff, because there's a lot of tech stuff on them grills now that people don't realize there are. But I just gotta find a company that'll send me a grill for it, So.
Yeah, because I know a guy that has a grill that he'll be at work, and I don't know if he can fire it up, but I know he can look at it and monitor everything going on with it, and maybe go home or call home. Hey, the grill went out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and aside from it getting legs and going into the refrigerator and putting that stuff on the grill for you, I don't know what I really don't know what the point is. But I'm not going to sit here and say, well, it's stupid and not get me a grill. No, I'm going to say, hey, send me one. I'm going to do it because they're putting them in there, so you might as well just, accept it. But I do think it's one more thing to break,
Yeah, the more tech you get on it, the more problems.
It's like your cars.
We were looking at refrigerators, and they had one that has a camera in it. So if you're at the store, you could see, well, do I have eggs? You can go on your phone. We didn't get that.
There's a Samsung on it. It's got a TV on it. I've gone to a house. It's like, well, I need my TV hooked up. Okay, it's in the kitchen. It's on my refrigerator. Come on. It's all Wi-Fi. It's done all that. It's got Netflix on it. It's got YouTube on it. It's got everything on it. It's like, man, why do you need that? Oh, the thing's like freaking $4,000. It's like, why do you need a $4,000? Yeah, why do you need a $4,000 refrigerator? I'm not in the freaking kitchen watching TV. I'm on the freaking couch in my freaking living room watching the 65-inch. Why do I want to watch a little big thing on the freaking? I know. Make light of things. I don't know. So as a tech guy, I think there's good tech and there's bad tech. My work truck, bad tech. Everything is controlled on that 17-inch monitor on my truck. My heat, my AC, everything. There's nothing. If that screen goes out, I have nothing. It's like, man, why?
Yeah, it's one computer chip away from a breakdown.
Give me a mechanic.
That is scary. It ain't like back, in Ford F-150 or something.
Yep, I had that old Ford F-150. It didn't have AC. It had the triangle windows. You moved over. If you were hot, you just drove faster. That old Ford pickup, man, I love that thing, man. It had that old inline 300 6-cylinder in there, 4-wheel drive. Man, I love that. That was the best motor Ford ever made. Was that 300 inline 6? It had a 1-barrel carburetor on it. So, I had that thing jacked up. It had big mud daubers on it, mud wheels on there. We'd go up to Monroe City up there by Mark Twain Lake, man, go freaking pond hopping on the damn thing. That was back in my youth, my young days, my young stupid
back
days.
In the day.
Yeah. Those days I could work on them things. I hate working on them now. But man, every week I'd work on that thing just to play with it and break it on the weekend. Do something else on it. So,
is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything you want to bring up? What did we miss about the Flat Top Noob?
Oh man, he's insane. he's a square meal short of freaking being in an asylum. So just if you guys come over to my channel, don't expect to learn anything, but sometimes you'll be entertained, sometimes you won't, sometimes you'll go, that guy's an idiot. Sometimes that's just made that way. It might be supposed to be that way. You never know.
Any food item you want to mention before we go? We're here for the food. What's your favorite all-time cook? The second favorite past the smash burger, and then
the cast iron pizzas. You can't go wrong with those cast iron pizzas. You know, you just can't. I've said it before. So Pizza Hut don't do them no more. Back in the days when we were growing up, they cook them in a deep dish pan now, but they used to cook them in a cast iron pan. They used to bring the cast iron pan out to the table and set it on the table.
I think I remember that, yeah.
So, but they don't make them like that no more. But the cast iron pizza, I think, is probably the second best thing on the channel I've done, because I've made those things probably 5 times after I made that video. You know it's good when you make it 5, 6 more times, not making the video after you've made the video. You know, I mean, if you've made food on your channel and it's a video, and then all of a sudden you've made that thing several times after that, within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know you were on to something. Especially your family knows you were on to something.
We did what was that recently we did, and we made it 2 or 3 times? What was that?
I can't think.
There was something we just did that, and the crack burger.
The crack burger? Yeah, I didn't like that. Did you see my crack burger? I'm the only one that hated it. I'm serious. Everybody else said, "Oh, it's great." So I just dogged the shit out of it. It's like
we kept eating it, and she made variations of it and everything else. Yeah,
I seen that. Yeah. So, sure. Like Sherman over at Coop the Grill, they were doing those party ribs, and he goes, "Man, I made party ribs for a month. They were so good." So you're on to something whenever you make them after the video.
You keep making it. Yeah.
Right, you keep making it for a while until you get tired of it, and then you come back to it later. But
because, if something sucks, I'm going to say it. But when you're doing the video, it's good. But then you may not remake it as much,
Right. So like the White Castle, it was good, but it was one of those things that, I can go 15 minutes down the road and buy a White Castle. I don't need to make it at home. That video was strictly to, for one, because I got the molds for the 3D printer, and then 2, Doug started. I started on how everybody didn't make it right, and then me and him got into arguing how to do it, and blah 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 blah. But I think you have a winner when you make a video on a food and you make it several times afterwards.
That's an excellent point.
But I think, after that the smash burgers, because I've made variations, and I'm about to make another one here soon. I teased that at the beginning of the show. But I think there's 200 and 120 videos I've made. The cast iron pizza, and that was a winner in the house too. That was a winner in the house. So,
and I think possibly our second best cook would be a pizza, and it was cooked in the cast iron on the pit barrel.
The beer cheese.
She's
pizza.
got it. The beer cheese.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get any.
Well, so when I made that, it was wintertime, so I really want to throw it in the smoker and do it in the smoker the next time. And I just discovered the cast irons. I knew about them. As far as using them, I've just recently discovered them. So there's an egg, what do you call it? They call them bowls, but an egg skillet, I guess. It's pretty much, throw it in a small cast iron, and it's just basically a big omelet with a whole bunch of stuff in there. Because I like putting green peppers, green onions, green peppers, red peppers, sausage, mushrooms, all that stuff in there. So I wouldn't mind doing one of those. Maybe do like an egg quiche or something with all that stuff in there in the smoker.
I love all of it.
Yeah, I'll eat anything once. If I don't like it, then I won't eat it again. But I'll try anything. I've had octopus, shark, freaking testicles, all that crap. Not my testicles, but testicles. I don't recommend those, but it's what it is. So, yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on here. It was fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
I'm sorry that I was a dud, but
this turned out better than ever expected, I got to say. Man, I mean, it's been a blast, Ryan. So,
well, I'm trying.
Sorry, I keep on having my kids and my grandson bugging me over
coming
here.
in and out and everything. So,
well, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. No biggie. Is this the longest you've had a podcast?
It is, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'm looking at my timer, an hour and 34 minutes, and
it goes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. I can see now how the shit show just goes for two or three hours.
Yeah,
you're sitting here and you're just like, next thing you know, you're 2-3 hours in.
Yeah,
you're having a hell of a time.
But it's fun. But if it wasn't fun, it wouldn't go. It really was. And the three of us, I think, between the three of us and then the guests that we have, it manages to just banter and play off of each other, and it just goes. By the time you know it, it's like, oh man, it's tomorrow. You know? But that's fine. So long as you're entertained, and hopefully the audience finds something entertaining about it. I've gone back and listened to them, and they are quite entertaining. It's like, man, that's funny. I'm sitting here laughing. It's like, because I was worried about that too. I was like, are we really just boring and nobody, because at the time nobody's watching, but I look and people come back and watch.
Each episode you release or each thing you release, you gain a few more, or someone else finds you, and not only that, you get a little more better. Everything kind of gets a little better, and you kind of grow.
It all started with me saying, "Hey guys, you want to do a live show?" And then it kind of blossomed from there. And then we were like, "Well, why don't we have people on?" It's like, "Well, hey, that's great." And then I'll be honest, I am still shocked as can be that the Flat Top King came on the show. I am. I mean, I'm happy and grateful that he took time out of his world to come on that show. I would have never thought in a million years that he would have done that. But I was in contact with him. I've talked to him. I've run it by him a few times over the course of about 3 or 4 months, and I'm still shocked still to this day. I went back and listened to that live show. I was like, man, that was a good show. And just to have him on, it's like, man, I don't think we could do any better.
I'm not impressed he came on, but he came on so early on.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, and like I get what you're saying. It's just I just wouldn't have thought he'd have come on.
There's because I got this podcast. We've been doing this for a little while, and there is a guy that I would like to get on. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, and he probably never would come on. I don't know if you've ever heard of Sam, the cooking guy. Yeah, look him up. He's on YouTube. He's got like over 1 million followers.
Yeah.
So, and he's really, really entertaining, drops the F-bomb all the time and all that.
Well, but, if you notice, I try not to in my, there might be some innuendos in there, but I try not to, I try to make it family oriented, at least on that side of things.
Yeah. But it's very entertaining, and, I just like to, something, if you could get someone like that. So you've got to always have someone or something that you kind of,
right.
So.
Well, you know what? I'm ecstatic because he's the one that when I was looking at flat tops to begin with, he was the one I found to keep, start watching. And plus the grills, because he was doing the charcoal thing. He was starting to taper over to because he had that Camp Chef Griddle. And I just found one of his videos when he got that Camp Chef, and he hadn't changed his name yet and stuff. And it's like, that's awesome. But, I'm just grateful that he actually came on, I mean, it's just, the Hungry Hussy, he won't. I think he don't have that personality, but Neil does. I think Neil's.
Well, I know one person I'm glad that came on. That's you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
It took a while before I even started asking people on, and I've started to kind of said I'm going to start doing that, and I appreciate you getting on here. It's been a lot of fun.
You're fine.
And maybe again, we'll get you back.
I was your 1,000th subscriber.
Oh, I told her.
Yeah,
I was going to mention that, and I totally forgot all about it.
I didn't. I'm not modest. Hey, look. So that weekend we were having you on, because I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I just can't watch everybody all the time. So I'll go and binge watch people's channels. That way I'm more, because I watched your stuff, but I just can't, like, Doug gets mad at me because I don't watch his stuff right away. He's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I just don't, and then he gets mad because I don't comment. I'm like, well, I watch it on my TV. I can't comment from my TV, you know?
And I get you. And I have some people, a few that, like, as soon as you post it, within 10 minutes, the same few people, like,
yeah, they watched it right away. Yeah. So, but I will watch. But going back to the subscriber stuff, I got on here and I'm like, well, shit, I'm not even subscribed to his ass. And then it said 999. I'm like, wow, yeah. So I was like, all right.
There he is, 1,000 subscribers.
1,000, you know? Maybe I'll call you whenever I'm at like 997. You can unsubscribe to me and then come back and subscribe. You'll right at 999. You can be my 1,000. I wouldn't mind. So
that's awesome.
That'll be a minute. This was fun, man. I hope I can come back.
Yeah, I hope so, and I'll get back on your show maybe one day.
Yeah, we're going to have you back. We've already talked about it. It's quite amazing, John, the amount of people that now are now wanting to come on the show. It's become.
That's great.
I wouldn't say overwhelming. It's just like I start feeling bad, and Doug wants to throw them in there when like if it's just the three of us. Oh, give him a link. It's like I would rather just have a whole. Because if you notice, I do the thumbnails with me, him, Rob, and then whoever's coming on.
You're right.
And, you know, Rich comes on every once in a while, but Rich has been doing that for us since the beginning. So it's like when Rob wants to go to bed and we're not ready to shut down, Rich will come on, you know. But I think Rich is the backup goalie.
Reached out to him. I might have to reach out to him, see if he'd come on here.
Yeah, he probably would. Rich is a great guy, man. I know him and I got, you know, went back and forth on that White Castle thing, but he knows we were just joking and stuff, you know.
Yeah, before we go, Rich, he did a video a long time ago about the toad, the egg toad, you know, the burger and you put an egg in it.
Yeah. I forgot what it's called. I saw it.
Toad in a hole?
Toad in a hole, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that video, so I kind of made one similar, and then I tagged him in it and everything, said great video, and that's how the both of us kind of, and he kind of, oh, that's cool, and this and that, and we kind of started talking and stuff. Yeah, I find something and create something with someone, and it's always cool.
Well, so like Sherman and Cherie or whatever, the Coop de Grill up there in Wisconsin, you know, I mean, I found them because we did that Freedom Wiener collab 2 years ago. You know,
that guy.
Yeah, and
YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I only had like I don't know, maybe 20 subs, but Rob and Doug got me involved with that one. So it's like, you know, it's like, all right, well, this is cool, man. You know, I wasn't expecting any of this stuff. I really wasn't. I'm so humbled right now with the amount of, you know, people that reach out to me, and that we've all, you know, Doug, Rob, and I know we're the three amigos in the space, and I guess I don't know if everybody looks at the three of us, or, you know, I don't know how everybody perceives us that way. I mean, if like we're the leaders of this pact, or if we're just part of, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain. It's just kind of morphed into what it is. But I'll be honest with you. I don't, even if that grows big, I don't want us to change. You know, I want it to be the same.
Keep it down to earth.
Stupid bull. You know, I don't. You know, and you know, we've had conversations. It's like if somebody actually comes, like I started putting this stuff on Spotify and stuff. Somebody comes to us and offers us stuff. I don't want to let go of the creativeness of it. I don't want somebody coming in and changing it, because the whole purpose and the whole right. Well, and don't change the show, because the whole reason we're here is because of the show. But once they start to want to change things, it's like, well, then why? You know? So that's all the pipe dream stuff, you know. It's just stuff that I think of, and it's what it is, you know.
Well, we would love to have you back sometime, you know.
Maybe but I hear a but.
Rescue a few more turds or something.
There's a but in there. There's a but. But what? I'm just kidding. I'd be more than happy to come in. It was fun. I know we're at an hour and 45 minutes. I broke your record, so
maybe next time we'll go over 2 hours. So
hey, I've got the stamina.
Oh, let's see if we can take it out. Say bye.
Bye.
We'll see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Okie Smokin podcast. Episodes drop every Monday. Don't forget to follow this podcast, or you might miss out on some delicious creations. You can also find us on our website, okiesmokin.com, and on YouTube and other social media platforms. Until next time, keep firing up that grill.